Tell me a little bit about the QB3 Garage and the Mission Bay Incubator Network.
Well, we started this experiment now, about 3.5 years ago, and the goal was to see if we could create resources to accelerate the movement of the inventions and creativity of our faculty out to the commercial marketplace. So traditionally this has been done by large venture capital investments, but in recent years it's become increasingly difficult to get venture capital investments for very early stage projects. So the goal here was to lower the cost to start a company. How low? Well, we decided to we created a situation where we can rent units of space as small as 120 square feet. So investigators, graduate students, postdocs can create a company, get that company going on a credit card. And the idea is that they come in, they reduce the invention to practice, they do the proof of principle experiments necessary, they aggregate a team, they get clarity around the market needs for their invention, and then ultimately go to the more significant funding rounds. So we started that about 3.5 years ago. We've had 12 companies in. Of those, 6 here right now, and that's all in 2,500 square feet. So we have 6 companies operating in the garage right now in 2,500 square feet. And of the first crop of companies, 4 of them closed venture rounds, and 1 was acquired by Affymetrix for $25 million. That was a company called True Materials. So our goal was to be able to accelerate company formation. We think we've done that. The charge that the companies we create might be an exercise in futility. You know, what are you going to do with 120 square feet? Aren't you going to create a bunch of companies that aren't going to be able to go anywhere? And we're very proud that the companies that have been here have proven that that's not the case. So it's been a fantastically successful experiment.
And the network, just really kind of across the street here. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this success of the QB3 Garage has resulted in a huge volume of inquiries. I get 2 to 4 calls a week from young companies looking for space, and I'm completely full, and I'm almost always full. So invariably what happens is I have to frustrate them. So when Fibrogen moved to Mission Bay, we began a discussion this last spring that said, well, you know, would you be able to make some of the space that you're not yet needing for your own operations available in a similar format? And they agreed. And we started those discussions, I think, something like April. We formally announced it in July, and we already have 9 companies operating in the Fibrogen space. And what we do is we're calling this the QB3 Mission Bay Incubator Network. And QB3's contribution to this is that we provide access to core facilities. We have networking events, seminar series for entrepreneurs, lots of rich scientific resources for them as well. So companies that are operating at the very bleeding edge with only 150 square feet are much more dependent upon the resources of the university. And so QB3 makes those resources more accessible to them. We also have become the focal point for people who are thinking about starting new companies. So I think it's true that all of those 9 companies came to me originally, and then I led them on to I told them about all the spaces that were available in the Bay, but really the one that's been most attractive for them is the Fibrogen space.
And again, all of these are UC related, are based in the research of UC.
I'd say about 60% of those 9 companies, about 2/3 of those companies were UC related. Some are from other sources, so it will make the City Fathers very happy to hear this, but one of the companies moved from Ithaca, New York to be here. Another company was a company that was being incubated at a desk at Moore Davidow and has now moved up here and is doing scientific studies here. So the garage really is only to serve the QB3 and UC faculty, students, postdocs, but now with the QB3 Mission Bay Incubator Network, we're able to serve a broader range. And our goal is to make this a nexus for entrepreneurship for the entire Bay Area. Mission Bay is one of the few places where you can get direct access to university resources within 500 meters of a Class A laboratory space. And so far as I know, there's really almost no other options for companies who want to rent 150 square feet. This is not what commercial real estate companies can do. So our goal is to be able to lower that barrier, allow them to get going on very little, with a very capital efficient way.
And in true incubator fashion, incubate them out into other spaces in the city in Mission Bay?
That would be a great goal. Actually, let me speak to the incubator idea. So, an incubator is a place you put chicken eggs in, you take chicks out, and that's very much our ambition with the garage. We cap the amount of time that companies can stay here to 2 years. Um, in the wider QB3 Mission Bay Incubator Network in the Fivergen space, and perhaps in the future in the Alexandria space, that won't be the case. In fact, those companies will be encouraged to grow organically right here in Mission Bay. At the end of the day, we'd love there to be more improved laboratory space in Mission Bay and in the region. But for the near term anyway, there's no ceiling on our capacity to serve that need.
So tell me a little bit about Mission Bay Capital, which is something that just started that you and Reg Kelly, the director of QB3, are involved with as uncompensated directors.
That's right.
And of course that involves Brooke Byers and some investment from Pfizer and others. So what's going on there?
So based on the success of the garage, we really became confident that companies very modestly finance companies could prove great success. And our feeling was that we're limited in, there are very few places that those young companies, though, can turn for capital. So about a year ago, we sat down and whiteboarded with Brooke Byers and Jack Wadsworth a vision for a seed stage venture fund with a very unusual structure. It would be staffed by Reg Kelly and myself and our colleagues Tracy Saxton, and we would do the normal work of a venture capitalist, go out and identify very promising prospective companies, nurture them, and identify the best investment opportunities. But Reg and I don't have any track record in making investments in what Brooke describes as the white-hot risk space. So Brooke very generously has agreed with Jack Wadsworth to lead an investment advisory committee that works pro bono, meets 4 times a year. It includes luminaries of the venture capital industry, Fred Cohen, Luke Ebnin, Bill Erickson, Doug Cameron, Chris Christopherson. These folks get together 4 times a year. They review 2 companies at a time. We bring the companies in, and they make investment recommendations to us. And our goal is to be able to make investments, the pivotal sort of early stage investments in young companies, and help those companies go on to great success. The success will then help feed back to QB3 in that 20% of the profits that the venture fund will enjoy come back to QB3 to fund subsequent funds for our research or education mission. So it's a beautiful balance between the skills of the venture community, our ability to identify promising early stage technologies, and through the garage and QB3 Mission Bay Incubator Network, we can also help these companies get going at in a very capital